We'll call to order the City of Douglasville City Council Legislative Work Session for tonight, which is December the 3rd. Our invocation will be done by Pastor Henry Greenidge of Trinity World Christian Center. After that, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Terry Miller. Please stand for the invocation.
The title of my devotional thought is Sacrificial Love. The chicken and the pig were reflecting on the tremendous devastation of the recent pandemic and wondering what they could do about it. So the chicken said, when people are in the midst of survival, one of the best things you can provide is breakfast. The pig thought for a moment and said, that's a good idea. However, for you, breakfast is a contribution. For me, it's total commitment. Sacrifice. It's something we are willing to engage in when love is involved. Because I love my country, my community, and my family, I'm willing to wear a mask, though at times it's inconvenient. Rushing to be here, I left my mask in my car. The hymn writer wrote this song, others, Lord, yes, others, let that my motto be. Help me to live for others, that I might live for thee. Philippians 2 says this, each of us should live not only for our own self-interest, but also for the interest of others. In our homes, in this community, and in this chamber, let's live into the power of that scripture and practice sacrificial love. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and Pastor Greenidge. We appreciate the invocation. I will go over the announcements and the presentations for this evening. For our City Council meeting, I'd like to welcome you to the Douglasville City Council Legislative Work Session. I'm Douglasville's Mayor, Rochelle Robinson. Tonight's meeting is being conducted in whole or in part by teleconference. We do have the Governor Kemp's order to have 50 or less in our council meeting. I believe we're up to about 42. And so we'll ask that after the business that you're here for, if you would help us to socially distance and maybe leave the council chambers or spread out so that we can we can practice the W's of washing your hands, wearing a mask, and watching your distance. But this open meeting of the Douglasville Mayor and City Council is being conducted by teleconference, consistent with the Official Code of Georgia, annotated Section 50-141G, due to emergency conditions involving public safety in order to mitigate the transmission of the coronavirus and to reduce the risk of COVID-19 illness. That code section, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows local governments to meet in whole or in part by teleconference in the event of an emergency, so long as means are afforded to the public to have simultaneous access to the teleconference meeting. For this meeting, we're convening partially by Zoom software as shown on the city's website, describing how the public may join, which is via YouTube media platform. This is a work session where agenda items are presented for discussion and no official action will be taken this evening. Official action will be taken on these items discussed tonight on Monday at 6 p.m. If the business you are here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from citizens and delegates section for you to discuss your business. Just a few protocol issues I'd like to go over this evening, and then we can get into the agenda, which has been printed, and there's agenda on the screen, or if you like to have a paper one, there are agendas printed outside on the table. I'd ask that you would please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You receive a warning from the chair for the first time, and if you deviate from that, a second request will ask that you would please refrain from speaking. One person only speaking at a time. Please do not applaud or react to the speakers or speak from the audience, cheer, or carry on a conversation with others in the audience. Remind you that we're only required to accept public comments during the required public hearings for zoning matters. If you have a cell phone or iPad or electronic device, we'll ask that you would please put those in silent mode or power those off until after the meeting so they will not be disruptive. Now, this is how the agenda items will be handled this evening. The committee chairperson will read the agenda item. Then the person representing that agenda item or applicant will make his or her presentation. That will be your only opportunity to present the information. Myself and council members will possibly ask clarifying questions to help us make our decision on Monday. After that, the committee chair will ask for comments or statements from the audience. There is a maximum of 20 minutes for those in favor and 20 minutes for those in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes, or if you have a group of people that goes beyond those 5 minutes, you still have totality of 20 minutes, and you can split it up 3 minutes a person or whatever, but each side gets 20 minutes. Prior to approaching the podium, please give us your name and address for the record. There is a card that you should have filled out and hand that card to the city clerk, Ms. Vicki Acker. So before you come to the podium, please hand her that card, and once you get to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Each person has one opportunity to speak. There are no reappearances. This is not a question and answer or a debate format. We're just here to receive the information to help us make our determination on Monday. If you have any printed material, please submit that to the city clerk. And again, if you have any concerns or you want to talk to us or give any information that's germane to city business, it's during the citizens and delegates comment, and you have 5 minutes to speak at that time. Now I see that we do have, do we have 50 yet, Ms. Kristen? You're counting? Okay, and once we get to that number, there is an overflow room that you can wait in and listen to the council meeting, and then you can come in. But Ms. Kristen's gonna make certain that we stay within that number so that we can help ourselves to be safe until we get the vaccine. All right, announcements and presentations. We have a GMA government relations update by Michael McPherson, Intergovernmental Coordinator. Is that person here? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Robinson, for the time on the agenda tonight. Thank you, City Manager Hampton and City Clerk Acker for all you do for the city, and thank you, honorable members of the council, for all you do. Every legislative session of the Georgia General Assembly presents exciting opportunities for city governments and an element of danger too. GMA's political strength comes from the close relationships between city officials, their state legislators, and from working closely with GMA's advocacy team. Even in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is important to engage with legislators now and during the 2021 session. Even if your engagement is virtual, legislators must be included in the dialogue about the needs of your community. The 2021 legislative session will begin a new 2-year term, and many of these legislators will be newly elected. There will be 27 new House members and 10 new state senators. As always, GMA encourages you to set up a hometown connection meeting to impart all of your needs to the delegation prior to the legislative session beginning. GMA's policies for the 2021 legislative session are finalized. We appreciate all of you who participated in sharing ideas to bring forth in January. GMA's governmental relations staff is already working on many issues, including the fight against state-level preemption of locally established residential design standards supported by the home builders and realtors at both the national and the state level. Ensuring local control over short-term rental regulations and tax compliance that comes up each legislative session. Pursuing legislation that would authorize the registration of rental properties. Various revenue and finance issues that impact a city's bottom line always come up. And in the light of the civil unrest due to police violence against Black people, GMA anticipates debates on various public safety and police reform measures. And every session, there are bills introduced to limit home rule, aimed at preventing city councils from making decisions in the interest of their citizens and doing their jobs, which could include preemption bills on local authority in response to the coronavirus itself. I also want to share with you the news that GMA's president has formed an Equity and Inclusion Commission consisting of 26 members, including elected officials and city staff. The commission aims to address, strategize, and implement solutions to combat institutional and systematic racism, violence, acts of injustice, inequity, and intolerance in all Georgia cities. It is also expected that the commission members will lead by example to urge cities and their leaders to be at the forefront of creating sustainable change in their communities. A midterm report will be issued to the Board of Directors in January 2021, and a final report will be presented to the board and membership at the 2021 annual convention in June. We encourage all cities to visit GMA's Equity and Inclusion Toolkit at georgiacities.com. This toolkit includes resources that will equip Georgia city leaders with tools to listen deeply, unite widely, and act boldly to combat racism, social injustice in your communities. This toolkit will be updated often to include GMA initiatives and announcements and resources from our valued partners. If anyone has any questions on any equity and inclusion initiatives, I'll be glad to talk with you offline to share more information. And that goes with any government policy, legislative policy items as well. Your city's involvement with GMA and with your legislative delegation strengthens all city governments. I hope you will reach out to me or any of the governmental relations team to schedule a date to participate in person at the Capitol as soon as it's deemed safe to do so in person. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for your time. Thank you, members of the council.
Thank you so much. We always look forward to our GMA relations update, and we do have a hometown connection meeting set up with our delegation. The dates again?
Appreciate being invited to that, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir. When is it?
Sorry, Mayor, I had to look at my calendar. You wanted me
I know,
to
I was
give you
looking
the
at
date.
my calendar too. I couldn't find it.
No,
But
ma'am. It is December 17th at 11 a.m. is the time that the City Council will be meeting with our state delegation.
thank you so much, City Manager. I apologize. It's December the 17th at 11 o'clock. We're going to meet with our delegation, and so for Douglas County, and certain we will have some of the GMA home rule and all those issues that we certainly care about with inclusion and equality, and bring those issues back to GMA and to our delegation. So thank you so much for giving us an update this evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great holiday season.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome. So now we'll move on. I have a presentation to recognize former Planning Commission members, Ms. Faye Dobbs Carter, Ms. Ruth Morgan, and Mr. Martin Raxton. I know the other board members for the Planning Commission could not make it this evening, but we do have their plaques as well. And so in light of us having the coronavirus and the pandemic, we could not have our traditional appreciation breakfast that we typically have for the volunteers and for people who serve on our boards. And so I know we had a reorganization. You all started out, you were the zoning board, and then we changed you up to be the planning commission, and then we reorganized everything and trying to have best practices. And so having done all of that, I know that you all transitioned off, and so we wanted to show appreciation to you for your service, and the other members of the board will receive their plaques. They just could not make it this evening. So I'll read the plaques. If you all will please come forward, and I'll read the plaques, and if you'd like to say anything, you can, but if not, then we will take a picture with you. So as you're coming, I'll read the plaque and then present to you guys. So it says, Douglasville, Georgia, with our sincere appreciation, we hereby recognize Mr. Martin W. Raxton, Ms. Faye Dobbs Carter, and Ms. Ruth Morgan for your commitment and dedicated service to the Douglasville Planning Commission 2020. So let's give them a hand as they come forward to the microphone. And I have an additional something for the chair. He said ladies first. So you all don't want to say anything about it. So the letter that I have, you want to say something, Ms. Ruth?
It has been a privilege serving the city of Douglasville and its citizens.
Yes,
The past few years have been a learning experience for me, and I hope and I pray that I made a difference in someone's life in this community. It has been a pleasure, Mayor at Robinson, and to the council, thank you very much, and it has been an experience.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Ruth. Ms. Faye Dobbs, you're ready for Christmas. You look beautiful.
Just like Miss Morgan,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
was truly an eye-opener for me. I learned a lot. You see, you don't not see me everywhere. But with that, I'd like to thank you, Mayor and the council and the city for allowing me that opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ms. Dobbs Carter. And so I'll read this for Mr. Raxton, if you can come forward, and then we'll present the plaques and take a picture. It says, Office of the Mayor, December 3rd. Dear Mr. Raxton, I wish to congratulate you on your dedicated service to the city of Douglasville through your work on the zoning board as a zoning board chairman. This board deals with many sensitive, complex, and high-profile issues. You have demonstrated a high level of grace, professionalism, and enthusiasm throughout your tenure on the board. With that being said, I find you more than deserving to receive a key to the city of Douglasville. This honor has affirmed something that I have known for quite some time, that you are a great leader and an asset to the community. Again, congratulations on this accomplishment. I look forward to continue to work with you in the community and aspire to enhance the prosperity of the city of Douglasville. Hereby given to you, respectfully yours, Mayor Rochelle Robinson, City of Douglasville. Let's give him a hand.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mayor Robinson, and to the City Council. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here this evening. It was great to serve in that capacity and to serve the residents of our community here in the city of Douglasville. We took great pleasure and pride in sitting in those seats, and we hope that you were proud of the accomplishments that we made. And I also would like to recognize City Manager Marcia Hampton, our Community Development Director Patrice Williams, as well as Susan Littlefield as the Assistant City Attorney, for working with us and being that staff liaison with us. So again, thank you, and I wish the new board all the best and success. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Council members, if we can come around, please, and take a picture. Thank you all so much. It's always good to show appreciation. So we'll move on now to item number 5, which is Economic Development Committee. That's chaired by the Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Several items tonight under the Economic Development Committee.
Mm-hmm.
The first is to adopt a resolution amending the 2020 tax plan and clarifying and adjusting the 2013 tax policy. Mr. Pumphrey, you'll help make this into understandable
I know.
language for most normal human beings.
Yes, I will do my best. Good evening, everyone. Chris
evening.
Pumphrey, Douglas County Economic Development, 8512 Bowden Street, Douglasville. Glad to be in front of you all this evening. Our last meeting, we adopted the 2020 tax plan and made the approvals for Project Douglas. We had to make some clarifying changes into the tax plan as well as Project Douglas, and I'll give those very briefly. The two main changes to the tax plan dealt with, one, the average hourly wage. When we did the tax plan in 2013, a company was awarded a point for an average hourly wage of $15 an hour. At the point in time in 2013 when we implemented that plan, the average wage in Douglas County was roughly $15 an hour and some change. Today, the average hourly wage is $20.42 or something like that. I'm pretty close. So it didn't make a lot of sense for us to keep that same number as a point for average hourly wage. So we changed the language in the plan to basically say you receive a point for having an average hourly wage equivalent to or greater than the past calendar year's average hourly wage. That way, we don't have to change it on an annual basis. Those reports come out quarterly. The average hourly wage goes up and down, very frequently. And so we want to use the prior calendar year as the basis for that. So that's change number 1. Change number 2 deals with basically codifying the fact that a building that is in the construction process is not taxed at 100% of the construction in process. Basically, this is basically saying that if you say you're going to build a building and it's going to cost $30 million, and on the January 1 that the property is assessed, you basically invested, let's say, $15 million at that point in time. It does not make a lot of sense to charge that company the $15 million that's invested at the point in time, because at the end of the day, if the construction stopped, they couldn't sell it for $15 million. State law basically identifies that an assessor can assess at 75% of value. And so we're basically just codifying that. Our assessors kind of already do it, but we're just putting that into the tax plan so that companies can see that. So hopefully that was clear. Those are really the two changes in the tax plan. But I'll answer any questions that you might have around it.
Thank you, Mr. Pumphrey. Do you have any questions comments from any member of the council or the mayor?
Well explained.
Mr. Adams, you have a question.
Yes. 75% of assessed value or of the present value as of January 1 then, or December 31st?
January 1, correct.
Which would give you basically potentially what it possibly could be sold for in an unfinished condition.
Right.
So
Yeah.
rather than 100% of what its value is, you would reduce that by 25. It's basically what we're doing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And our assessors already do that. But we just are codifying that kind of in the tax plan so that we're just showing that to the prospects we're working with.
I understand. Thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman.
Questions or comments? Okay. So we go through these. I just want to note that we are missing 2 members tonight, and being that they're tax policy issues, I will not request that they be put on the consent agenda. We'll vote on them as normal on Monday. So on the second item, we have to adopt a resolution approving Project Douglas's participation in the city's revised 2020 tax plan and authorize the mayor to sign a related tax incentives agreement with that corporation, the Development Authority of the City of Douglasville, the Douglas County Board of Assessors, and the Douglas County Tax Commissioner. Mr. Humphrey?
Yes, sir. So this is the project we approved at the last meeting. As we just discussed, we clarified some things in the tax plan. This project had a lot of negotiations ongoing. We went back and forth on a number of different things. And one of the pieces that we discussed dealt around this assessment as it relates to construction and process. This is something that we said, all right, we'll make sure that this is codified in your agreement. So we're basically just adding to the agreement the 75% in construction process to Project Douglas. All of the terms that you have approved in the last meeting are still the same. Nothing has changed. Jobs, investment, the pilot schedule, all of that is the same for the project. We're just adding this component into the plan.
And I understood that. That's amazing.
I thought it'd be good.
Any questions or comments from the council, the mayor? All right. So far, so good.
Yes.
Final item I have under economic development is adopt a resolution approving JHO GA-1 Investment LLC's participation in the city's revised 2020 tax plan and authorize the mayor to sign the related tax incentives agreement with that company, the Development Authority of the City of Douglasville, the Douglas County Board of Assessors, and the Douglas County Tax Commissioners. Mr. Humphrey?
Excellent.
you're on
So
again.
this is new, well, exciting news. News has already been out, but exciting nonetheless. So in 2014, we were able to celebrate Curate Green Mountain coming to Douglasville. They were going to create 550 jobs and make their new Curate cold machines at that facility. They bought the facility, transformed it from a warehouse facility, and made it into a food-grade manufacturing facility. Well, $100+ million later, within a couple of years, they decided that they were not going to proceed with the development of that product at the facility, which is extremely heartbreaking. We went through the process. We had our pictures taken with Governor Deal. It was the deal of the year in the state, and it was all great news. And then we got the phone call that we're canceling the project. We fortunately were able to work with the company. They subsequently created a joint venture with Anheuser-Busch, and so we worked alongside of them. They came and met with the mayor and chair and really talked about their plans and what have you. And what we really said to them is we have goals in our community that we want to recruit high caliber companies to the community, great paying wages for the employees that they would hire. We want to move towards manufacturing and professional technology services and so on and so on. And so they worked with us to identify a buyer for the building, one who would work alongside of us to help us fulfill our strategic goals. And that was a company called LRC. They're a real estate firm based out of New Jersey. And they really specialize in buying and purchasing very unique assets that have some challenges to them, but they understand the overall value that those assets bring to the marketplace. So they didn't want to just take the building, deconstruct it, and turn it into another distribution warehouse. And so we worked alongside them on a number of projects, and we were so grateful to come across companies that fit within our target sectors. So fast forward, in September of this year, after a lot of discussions and touring and showing all the great assets of the community and negotiations, we were able to announce with the governor's office that Bang Energy was acquiring that facility. So Bang Energy, who is now creating 600 new jobs, paying average wage of $25 an hour, investing $249 million into this community. We're so grateful and excited to have them here. So I discussed this incentive with you at the last meeting, but we just weren't at the point where we're able to bring it before you for adoption. So before I move forward, I'm going to ask Gene Bukavi to come up and introduce himself and his team to you all and let you ask any questions of them.
Good evening.
Good evening, welcome.
My name's Gene Bukavi. I'm the Executive Vice President for Bang Energy, representative JHO Holdings. So he's our CEO. Brought with me Greg Robinson. He's the Senior Director of Finance.
Good evening.
Maria De Leon. She is our Acquisition Manager.
Oh.
So we're super excited about this building. First time we flew up here, I want to say sometime late last year. We're a manufacturer. 27 years, right? 27 years. I've been with the company for 11. Heard about the building, saw pictures, flew up here, saw the building, was super excited. We had some delays, obviously, right? This stuff that's going on. No surprise, but we decided to press forward. We are the number 3 manufacturer, energy drink manufacturer in the U.S. We do have business outside of the U.S. We manufacture everything in-house. This facility is going to really be our mega facility. We built a facility in Phoenix. It's about 400,000 square feet. High-speed lines, world-class. We did a little bit down in Pembroke Pines, but this here is, it's ideal. The layout, the location, the people here, Douglasville. When I first flew up here, I had the gas company was here, the electric company was here, the water company was here. I walked in there, I was like, it was carte blanche. And you have no idea what I went through. Pembroke Pines is still, it's a different story.
Wow.
And then Phoenix, not as bad, but nothing like here. So we're super excited about this place. I grew up in South Florida. Obviously tried to get in Georgia Tech, but they didn't take me, so I had to go to University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. I ended up finishing down in University of Florida Atlantic University. But anyway, we've got a plan to build out roughly about 100 and the total plan's $250 million. I hope we can keep it down that low, to be honest with you. We've got high-speed lines in the first phase. It's going to be close to about $180 million, $185 million. 2 high-speed lines, nothing like it in the world except Phoenix, but these are slightly faster and bigger. Super high-tech. We also have a little shot, a Bang Energy shot that we make. It's going to be a blow and fill, and this is like we patented the bottle, we patented the whole process, because you lose carbonation in a shot. In a PET, you lose the carbonation really quick. So we had a preformed design with a liner to hold carbonation for 14.6 months. So this will be the only machine in the world. So we're super excited about that. Let me see. I wasn't prepared for this, so.
You're doing great.
2 can making. That was on Governor Kemp's list. We're going to split that line into 2, so we're going to actually add another, $18 million to actually split that into 2 lines instead of 1, because we're going to come out with a 12-ounce seltzer, a Bang seltzer, which you guys know that's the hot thing for the Gen Z. So, so that's going to be additional here. My notes: great location, great state to do business in. Educated workforce, Georgia Tech. We got engineers, food scientists at UGA. You got a lot of other universities that I met with at the Gulf outing. I want to say, what was it, West Tech?
West Georgia Technical College, University of West Georgia.
Yeah. I have their hat, and I met the group out there. They bring a lot of the technicians that that level of people that we're going to need. To keep these machines running. So yeah, besides all that being, perk for us and being welcomed, the building, the layout, the way it is, wow. The professionals did it. We get to come in and reap the benefits, so we're pretty excited.
Good.
Yep.
Thank you so much. For you not to have written down anything, you did an excellent job.
Oh, thanks. I just typed it.
Yes, sir. Well, we welcome you to our community. We're so very excited for you and your team to fly in. It's the change of season. That's the only reason why it's cold. Typically, it would be a little warmer for you. I know it is in Florida, but welcome so much. And we're excited to have you in our community. And thank you for investing in the city of Douglasville. And I'll give my regards to the CEO. I did speak with him on the phone. He has a great sense of humor. He talked to me about his son, who's a police officer, and his family. So please tell him I said hello. And I look forward to, I know you all were at the golf tournament too. So
yes,
thank you so much for coming and jumping in and being a community partner. So I look forward to working with you all in the entire council. And so I know this is whose committee am I talking over top of? Okay, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
your comments. Any other questions or comments from Mr. Adams?
I'd just like to ask the gentleman to repeat one more time that we would have the most advanced, the most modernized facility of its kind in the United States or even in the world.
Absolutely,
for this.
in North America for sure.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your dedication to our community early on.
Yeah, everything's been ordered, to be honest with you. This COVID thing's, you know, I'm waiting for it to get on a boat and work its way, you know, across the, Germany's been a little, you know, a little tough over there, so. But the blow and fill, world class, nothing like it, so. I do appreciate, I did a little homework on you, Mrs. Robinson, and Youngstown. My family's from Youngstown.
Are
so
you serious?
my mom and dad went to South High in Youngstown. Yeah.
I went to Wilson, and
Yeah.
South is still on the south side. And
I saw
Coach
that.
Tressel, well, he's the president of the university now, Youngstown State University. So
My uncle still plays bocce with Tressel. So
Really?
At least he did at the, you know, I think my uncle lives in Struthers right now, so there's some bocce places over there.
it's
So.
serious football in Struthers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you have good roots
Yeah,
from
I do.
Youngstown.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
You
And
do
I have
too.
to tell my son, we were in Sam's Club the other day. I think blueberry or some kind of blue something is raspberries.
Blue
his
raz.
favorite. Blue raz.
Yes.
And the 21-year-old, so he has Bang, and it was in Sam's Club. I hadn't seen it before, so
Yeah,
I think that
no,
we're
we-
starting distribution in the community.
Oh, part of our steps to, you know, being world class ourselves as a company. Number 3, but we're gunning for number 1.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Small world. I grew up about 25 minutes from Youngstown on the Pennsylvania side.
Oh,
In fact,
okay.
My dad was a newspaper reporter, and he was a stringer for the Youngstown Vindicator for a little while.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I don't know
My
if that paper even still exists anymore.
that's a
Yes,
great
the
that's a great
Vindicator's
paper.
Still there.
The Vindicator's still there. Yep.
Any other questions from any of the member council?
Thank you so much. You just made a comment that you wanted to be number 1, and I just think that you deciding to be here with us, we want to help you be number 1.
Yeah, we do feel that way too. You guys
Great.
have been very helpful.
Thank you, Dr. Daly. I would also, just to say, to add on and reiterate, my own appreciation for you choosing our community to make such a substantial investment in. At the same time, I would also like to encourage you to maintain that investment, and by what I mean by that is to embed yourself in this community. I think you're definitely being welcomed by a lot of folks here, as you should be, and I hope you can return that favor by becoming becoming an actual part of the community, whether it's, you know, sponsoring events or community theater, hint hint, or or a few other things that that we've got going on, because we would love to see your name splashed on a lot of different things.
Yeah,
Get the pun there.
we do plan on doing that as well.
Very
Thank you.
good.
We appreciate your involvement in the community.
Thank
Thank you so much. Mr. Pumphrey, do you have any other comments to make?
Glad to once again have them here, and what we presented at the last meeting, we talked about kind of how we structured the incentive. We were looking at basically the old plan that we had and modifying it to kind of somewhat fit within the new plan, which is why we had to make some of the modifications in the tax incentive plan so that both things could happen concurrently. But all of these things have been adopted at the Development Authority level, and we're hopefully looking forward for your adoption on Monday.
Thank you, Mr. Pumphrey. There's no other questions. Again, I think it's an exciting time in Douglasville. We're on the cusp of some really great things here, and I think that this is this is all sort of housekeeping stuff in a way. It's not the sexy, glamorous stuff that when you talk about tax policy, but it's the stuff that gets things done, and things that makes the investment environment here so exciting at this time. And I think we're going to see some major developments coming along because of this. So thank you so much for all the hard work you do at the Development Authority, Mr. Pumphrey. Appreciate it. If no other questions or comments, we will take each of these items up on Monday for a vote. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all I have under Economic Development.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, and thank you again. You're welcome. We'll move on then to Finance Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We just
You're
have
welcome.
one item tonight under Finance.
Mhm.
Adopt an ordinance to amend the City of Douglasville's fiscal year 2020-2021 general fund budget. Ms. Callen brought this before us during our committee meetings at 5 o'clock today, and we'll have her reiterate and answer any further questions or give any other comments she might deem necessary. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, Karen Callen, Finance Director, 67 6695 Church Street.
6695 Church Street.
6695 Church Street. I was going to say the conference center. I know. I've been here 17 years, and I probably said that 70 times.
You do find your way
Anyway,
into work each morning?
6695 Church
If
Street.
you need any help, just give us a call.
I was like, Marcia, help. No. Okay, we'll be much quicker than we were. I know you have a long agenda ahead of you. This is the second general fund budget amendment for this fiscal year. And I have Mr. Cartwright here, and again, we'll be quick. The first group of our revenue adjustments are for the West Pines Golf Course. They are trending ahead of projections. As it looks now, if they meet their projections for this fiscal year, they will be 6% above fiscal year 19, which did not have any COVID-related revenue fluctuations. So we'll get Chris up here to elaborate a little bit.
Thank you, Ms. Callan. Chris Cartwright, 9090 Rose Avenue, Douglasville, Georgia. So as Ms. Callan alluded to, since July 1st, rounds in revenue have been up considerably compared to previous years. By the end of the week, we should be at about $500,000. So being 69% of our current revenue projections, we felt it was time to do a budget amendment to increase that amount. Currently 19% ahead of fiscal year 19 through those same dates. So if that continued, we would end up over $1 million in revenue, upwards of 1.1 million. But we wanted to make sure this was a conservative estimate, so we're splitting the difference there on the proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright, and again, I appreciate you doing that, not knowing in unprecedented times that we have. As some had mentioned in our 5 o'clock meeting, we may have actually benefited from the coronavirus from a standpoint of revenue in having folks out and playing golf and those types of things and activities that they can separate themselves from others. But appreciate the job you're doing. Open the floor for any comments or questions we had not already discussed in our 5 o'clock meeting. Anyone? Yes, Madam Mayor.
I just wanted to make one comment. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Cartwright. And again, congratulations for everything as the pro and the things that you do at West Pines. I wanted to add to all the comments that were made in committees that this is really astonishing to have these numbers and projections and going ahead of itself because it's been so wet. It's been raining. This is like 50% more rain than we had last year. And for us to be ahead with the resources is just, it's a miracle.
Yes,
sincerely, because I'm on the Water and Sewer Authority, and it's just been a lot of rain. So this is just really great for West Pines. So I hope the people who have come, the new members, will continue to stay with the course, and people will go again and have lessons in that new facility, training facility. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. Appreciate it. Any other comment or question? Madam Mayor, that's all we have. We'll take that up on Monday night.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. We'll move on to Housing and Community Affairs Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Danley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight under housing.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have one item. Adopt the ordinance to amend Section 2-46 of the Administration Ordinance to revise the meeting date for any council meeting conflicting with Veteran Day. Ms. Hampton, please.
Yes, sir. Very similar to when other holidays that we recognize for the city of Douglasville fall on a legislative work session or council meeting date. We have traditionally moved that to the day before or day after. In 2021, Veterans Day will fall on a legislative work session Thursday date. So we're proposing that the ordinance would read that any time that legislative work session falls, or I should say November 11th falls on a legislative work session date, we move it to the 10th.
Okay, any question from the council, mayor and council?
No, sir. It's just I know the charter has our dates already scheduled for the legislative and work session. And voting meeting days. So we just adhering to the charter, and we're moving that holiday so that we can observe Veterans Day for 2021. Yes, sir.
If it's council, we'd like to put this on the consent agenda for Monday. Okay, that's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Davis. We'll move on to item 9, which is Personnel and Organization Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in Personnel Organization.
Thank you, Coach. We'll move on to Planning and Development Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have a number of items tonight under planning and development. We will start item A, consider a request for approval of a development plan for Oakmont Skyview Drive for 25.88 acres at 2084 and 2120 Skyview Drive, land lot 521, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 3, and land lot 480, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 1, for plans dated November 6th. Application by Oakmont Pacolet Acquisitions, LLC. Ms. Williams?
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The proposal currently depicts a warehouse with a truck court and an auto parking lot, an allowable use in the light industrial zoning district. The proposed building is 181,430 square feet, and proposed building site area is 25.88 acres. The development will have 2 access points on Skyview Drive. The exterior elevations indicate textured concrete, insulated glass, and painted metal. City staff has reviewed the application and attachments and has determined that the proposed plans meet development requirements of the UDO. Staff recommends approval of this development plan.
Thank you very much, Ms. Williams. Is the gentleman here, someone here that would like to speak concerning this request? Come forward. Give us your name and address for the record, and we're welcome to hear from you.
Hunter Holmes, Oakmont, 3520 Piedmont Road, Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you all for having me tonight. I think I discussed with Maya this morning, we're going to table this discussion till we submit the combination plat here this week, so we can discuss this design review board and the plat. But if you do have any initial questions on this, or drawings or site plan, just let me know.
This has come about, sir, because you're actually combining 2 pieces of property and it has not been platted yet as a combined plat?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 2 separate properties we'll be combining to make this facility. Yep.
As a matter of information, I know that there's a large portion of the property that, just for general information, that is not developable as far as being in the floodplain.
Correct. We're probably developing maybe 50% of the site, actually maybe a little bit less.
Okay.
Correct.
Questions, comments, anyone? Any public comment or concern? Seeing none, then we will take that into consideration on Monday to table. Ms. City Manager, could you help us with the tabling dates, please, to table 2?
Yes, sir. Those dates would be December 17th and 21st.
So that request is being made that we table this item until the 17th and the 21st of December. Thank you. We'll take that up on Monday. Second item. We'll be holding a series of public hearings tonight, folks, and our mayor has already mentioned the protocol for those. Please adhere to that as you can. As I said, we have a number of them, and we want to make sure that everyone is heard in a timely manner, and we'll go forward with it. First one is hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance to reduce the required 50 feet front yard setback in section 4.08 of the Unified Development Ordinance for a variance of 31 feet for a remaining requirement of 19 feet, and 2, a variance of 21 feet for a remaining requirement of 29 feet on the north side of a lot for .636 acres at 5888 Fairburn Road. It's in land lot 50, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 117. Application by Kat Alvarez for Chick-fil-A. Ms. Williams?
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. There are special conditions that exist which are unique to the existing structure that may affect the applicant's ability to comply with the 50 feet setback requirements. As the agenda item reads, the applicant is requesting 2 variances. The existing structure is a small pad lot of approximately 18,941 square feet with double street frontage. The subject property has frontage on both Fairburn Road and Durley Lane. The applicant wishes to construct a canopy on the subject property to improve the customer service experience and to reduce overflow traffic on Durley Lane and Fairburn Road. Mayor and council approved a variance to reduce the front yard setback from the required 50 feet to 14 feet on July 2nd, 2018 for a 36 feet reduction. The new canopy construction would not enhance the nonconformity. The proposed renovation would improve the traffic conditions in and around the restaurant and provide additional safety for both customers and employees.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Do we have a representative here that would like to speak?
Yes, sir. My name is Frank Gadoon. Are you guys able to hear me very well? Because I'm remoting in.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Mayor Robinson and Douglasville City Council, thank you for allowing us to speak and present this project on behalf of Chick-fil-A. My name is Frank Gadoon. I'm a senior project manager for Essentia Architecture, and Chick-fil-A has retained us to help them with this Canopy program that they're enforcing throughout the rest of the U.S. I want to give you a little bit of background history of how we got to this point. Back in 2018, Chick-fil-A at that time took about 150 or so restaurants, and they decided to put just the face-to-face canopy only. The face-to-face canopy is the larger canopy that sits at pretty much where the entrance to the drive-through lane is. And what the purpose was to protect their employees out there with those little tablets taking the orders. They realized that they were having issues with traffic mitigation and traffic backing up even onto public streets and to the adjacent tenants and parcels, and they wanted to be the good, positive neighbor and try to help out the situation. And so they came up with this idea of installing these canopies. So back in 2017, 2018, that's when we started this program with them. And as a result, there are about 150, 200 stores out in the U.S. that only have the single canopy. How this helps is the order is taken up front there at the very beginning, relayed to the kitchen, and by the time the car would get up to the pickup window, the order was pretty much ready. The issue that they found in 2017 and 2018 is it helped mitigate traffic somewhat, but still didn't get to where they were satisfied with helping the neighborhood out. So back in 2018, they came up with a new program with us, and it's a dual canopy system. And what we mean by that is you have a face-to-face canopy at the entrance, and then we include another canopy, what we call the meal delivery canopy, close to or near the drive-through pickup windows. And what that allows Chick-fil-A to do is have their team members be on the curbside there, and they act as runners coming in and out of those windows are the orders, and they fill them to the cars, moving them out a lot quicker and faster. So the number one issue here is we're trying to help the employees with providing them with a more healthier work environment. The canopies have heaters underneath them for when it gets cold. They have a misting system fan in the summertime when it's hot that tries to keep some of those employees cooler. And the benefit of having these canopies are it moves traffic in and out of there a lot quicker. They've found that in some cases it's reduced it down by quite a bit. Pretty much in a nutshell, these canopies are independently constructed. They're not attached to the building. It's a cantilevered system, a moment frame. We can provide powder coat paint finishes and match architectural elements as well if we need to. We've done that at other locations. And we would like to request a variance to allow us to build these two canopies and these two lanes at the meal delivery windows for both locations on this property, as depicted on sheet A1 of our site plan. I'll open up for any questions.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Council, Madam Mayor, do you have questions of the applicant before we ask for anyone else to speak?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I did have a question. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was very comprehensive. We have canopies now, so we're just going to have more, like at the entrance. And Mike, you want to explain to us? Thank you.
It's going to be
you
very
give us your
similar.
name and address? I apologize. We all know you, but just for the record.
Mike Moore, 3752 Central Villa Drive, Douglasville, Georgia, 30135. It's going to be, the canopies we're going to be installing are very similar to the ones we have at Highway 5.
Okay.
Okay, you've got the big canopies you pull underneath, and
Yes,
you
sir.
drive up from the speaker box. And when you come around the building, there's another canopy there that helps keep the employees out of the weather as well as our guests out of the weather. And we can hand them what's called meal delivery area. So at Fairburn Road, if you think about when you're coming up through there, either lane that you're in, as you come up through there underneath, you're all of a sudden back out in the open area again before you get to the window.
Okay.
Well, these canopies were going to be in that area between the building itself, where the drive-through window, whether you're on the inside lane or the outside lane, to cover that area, and then out of that area a little bit so we can then give the meals to you, not have rain, not have sun, and just help protect. And it will help the traffic flow because it'll enable us to serve more cars quickly. I mean, and bottom line, that it helps a lot.
But Mike, what you're doing is extending the area where you can actually receive the food out of the weather, so that we would not necessarily, we being customers, would not necessarily have to stop at the window itself to get the food.
Correct. And where we do now is if you've been there, of course, we handle the food down the line. And what we're able to do is do that covered, so they're not in the weather. And like I said, at Highway 5, we've got that. I don't know if you've noticed it attached to the bill or not, but it's the same type. It could be the exact same kind of canopy we have there, where you come in there, we have the heaters, we have the fans, we have the lights, and it just keeps everybody out of the elements. And that way, when you roll down your window and it's raining, you're not getting your Chick-fil-A bag wet.
Okay.
So it's just to enhance the service. Is what we at Chick-fil-A we're trying to do. Just be the best we can at serve. So.
Good job. Anyone else with a question for Mr. Moore? Okay, I'll open it up. Is there anyone here that would like to speak? Anyone else that'd like to speak in favor of this application? We are in a public hearing. We do provide time for both those in favor and in opposition. Anyone here that would speak in opposition to this item? Seeing none, then we'll close the public hearing. And if there are no other questions for Mr. Moore, we will take this up on Monday night for a vote. Did you have something else, Madam Mayor? I'm sorry.
I apologize. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's not a question, it's just a statement. Thank you so much, Mr. Moore, for everything that you do in the community, how you give breakfast meals to Stewart Middle School, all the Christian athletes for all of the schools in the county, and we just appreciate how you give back, and the employees, their disposition, their customer service, and it's a blessing. So I just want to thank you, because I know that you're pleasant all the time and it just spills over. So thank you so much. And
well, thank you. And I appreciate everything y'all do, because I know it's been a trying year for everybody. And I just want to thank you for the job that y'all have done in Douglas County and the city of Douglasville, sorry. City of Douglasville. I just excited about everything that's going on. So thank you for what, excuse me, thank you for what y'all do as well.
You're welcome. Thank you, thank you for allowing me to say that, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll take this up on Monday then. Appreciate it, Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to item C. We'll hold a public hearing and consider a request for a special land use permit for warehousing or indoor storage for properties owned LI Light Industrial, being 43.99 acres at 1551 North River Road, land lot 172, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 15. Application by CHI Acquisitions, LP. Ms. Williams, would you introduce us to that, please?
Sure. Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant requests a special land use permit for rear loader warehouse on property zone light industrial district, being approximately 44 acres on North River Road. The subject property is located off Riverside Parkway at 1551 North River Road. In January 2020, the subject property was rezoned from PUD to LI in the Quality Growth Overlay District, with special conditions applicable to business light industrial property as set forth in the New Manchester zoning approvals. The request is pursuant to the ordinance which mandates the special land use permit is required for warehouse type uses, even though the subject property is zoned light industrial. Staff has not received any evidence or technical information that the proposed project will substantially diminish and impair property values within the neighborhood. Warehouse logistics is a permitted use within the light industrial district. The proposed facilities will be developed within the existing Riverside West Business Park. A traffic study was completed on behalf of the applicant, which indicated that the potential new truck traffic would not have a significant impact on the area. The truck analysis indicates that there may be 2 to 5 new truck trips per hour in each peak hour from and to each direction on Riverside Parkway when the development is fully occupied. The applicant indicates that measures will be taken to minimize potential traffic concerns. The proposed use is allowable in light industrial district with special land use permit.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Is the applicant here to speak on behalf of this?
Yes, sir, he is.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. If you come forward, give us your name and address for the record, and we're ready to hear from you, sir.
Yes, thank you. My name is Carl Westmoreland. My address is 3343 Peachtree Road, Atlanta. The next item, if you'd like to sound it and hear it together might be a more efficient use of your time. Otherwise, we can have it separately. It's a variance that goes, all right, fine.
Go right ahead.
I'm representing Crowe Holdings. John Bateman is here with Crowe Holdings. He'll speak to you in a minute. This, as you've heard, is 44 acres on North River Road. It's zoned LI in the Quality Growth Overlay District. Because of the 2008 amendment to New Manchester, we're asking for a use permit, as you've heard, for warehouse use. It's consistent with the comprehensive plan. The staff has analyzed, as you've just heard, the application in light of the use permit criteria, which are certainly more constrained than the rezoning criteria for other cases that you hear, and they've recommended approval. They found it's not detrimental to surrounding uses. It's obviously, as you know, in the middle of an industrial park. It's got a very similar warehouse development immediately adjacent to it. North River is just one road that's a totally industrial road that comes off of Riverside. There's a 445,000 square foot cold storage warehouse directly across North River Road. As I mentioned, the Rooker building, which is very similar in size, is adjacent to it. The issue that we've heard is truck traffic, and I think it helps to put that into context to understand that this is roughly a 280,000 square foot building. Compared to other cases that you've heard lately, both of which have had DRI, so they've been reviewed by Greta and ARC. Riverside West had 1,900,000 square feet. Riverside at Roberts, 1 million square feet. Neither of those had recommended traffic conditions from Greta. The threshold issue in these things is there another viable use for the property? Again, you know it's in the middle of an industrial area. It's got only industrial uses around it. We've submitted letters from the current owner who has owned the property for over 3 years. They've decided not to build a data center there. We also submitted a letter from their broker in whose opinion the warehouse distribution use, as is proposed here, is really the only feasible use for the property. So with that, let me introduce John Bateman of Crowe Holdings, and either of us will be glad to answer questions. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
My name is John Bateman. Address is 3715 Northside Parkway, Atlanta, Georgia, 30327. Mayor and City Council, thank you for your time this evening. I'm with Crowe Holdings, who's the proposed developer of the property. Crowe Holdings is a privately owned real estate company, and we focus predominantly on developing high-quality industrial and residential projects across the U.S. I run our Atlanta office and oversee our developments in the Southeast. As Mr. Westmoreland mentioned, the site is 44 acres on North River Road and is currently zoned light industrial. Of the 44 acres, we're only proposing to develop approximately 18 acres, which is only 41% of the site. Our site plan is a 280,000 square foot state-of-the-art rear load building, which will cater to smaller light industrial users. The requested special land use permit is to allow for warehousing and indoor storage, which is a component of all light industrial businesses. This is the same special use that was received for the neighboring property in 2017. Due to the size of the site and the building, the property is not developable without the special land use permit. A site and building of this size is on the smaller end of the spectrum for this asset class, and smaller users in this size range predominantly move into multi-tenant buildings that are already built. This requires the building to be built spec, which cannot be done without the special land use permit. Our building design is a rear load configuration, which has office and storefront in the front of the building, which caters to showroom type space or sales type space, and then the loading docks are in the rear of the building. This design caters to users with a higher office percentage that typically have this sales or showroom function, or also a light assembly type function. This is a much different from a cross-dock building, which has loading docks on both sides and caters to high distribution users. This configuration is the same building type as the neighboring property that I mentioned, which received the same permit. It was developed spec in 2018 and leased to 3 different tenants. Due to the concerns expressed on other recent projects, we commissioned a traffic study for the development. Given the size and the design of the project is estimated to only generate 2 to 5 new truck trips in each peak hour. It'd be hard to find any industrial use that would have less truck traffic than our proposed design, and as concluded by the traffic engineer and the planning staff, the development will have minimal impact on the surrounding road system in the neighboring area. During the planning meeting, the opposition only expressed one issue with our proposed development, which was increased truck traffic in the area. We appreciate this concern, but as I mentioned regarding the traffic study, which is based on actual traffic counts, this shows that the intersections operate adequately in peak and non-peak hours and will continue to do so with this development. Also, the traffic counts show that 94% of the traffic at the intersection of Riverside and Thornton Road is auto traffic, not truck traffic. Any type of development, including residential, would increase the traffic in the area, and that is not a specific comment to our proposed development. We believe that we are proposing a reasonable design, which is of a smaller size and a rear load configuration with more auto parking than any truck parking, and will not cause a noticeable change to the existing conditions. In summary, we're requesting a special land use permit to allow the property to be developed for its only viable use, consistent with its existing light industrial zoning and consistent with the surrounding properties. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Questions of the applicant? Madam Mayor, Council, at this time, any questions that you might have for the applicant? I would like to ask just one general question, just so that you can, in layman's terms, you can help us to understand the type of tenant that you have described. Can you give us any personal use as far as who that tenant might be that we might be able to identify with?
For sure. Tenants in the area of this size range normally fit into a couple categories. We actually have a building similar size, similar configuration north of this side, about 7 miles in the southern part of Cobb County. In that building, one of the tenants is a smaller consumer products company. So they have part of the space is used for office, where they're customer service, fulfilling orders, that type of function, and then part of the office for storage, part of it for assembly. A common tenant for this size range is also building materials companies, where they have a showroom for windows or a showroom for cabinets, a showroom for countertops, and then they also provide that in storage in the rear of the facility. Those are two of the most common for this size range and this type of building. The reason that we can't build the building with the tenant in mind is because these smaller tenants are not capitalized to be able to go the build-to-suit route, which is where you have a tenant and then you build the building. If this was a 75 or 100 acre site, that would be achievable, because you're going after these 500,000 square foot tenants or million square foot tenants who are well capitalized and they know their logistics operation. Whereas these smaller tenants, they move into an existing building. They know that they may need to grow in 5 or 10 years and move to a larger space, and therefore they can't take the risk of or capitalize to build their own building.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, Madam Mayor, did you have something? Okay.
That was very good
Then we will open the floor then for those that may come and speak on this application in favor of the applicant, first of all. And if there is no one here to do that, if there's someone here that would speak in opposition to the application, please come forward. Give us your name and address for the record, and we would be ready to hear from you. Anyone that would speak in opposition, please. This is a public hearing. We need to move along, and we would love to hear from you. I see we do have one taker. How are you, Mr. Sisk?
Thank you for this opportunity. It seems like really I don't need to share a whole lot with you, because you've heard this over and over and over, that in 2012, when the rezoning was done, with the criteria that warehouses would not be allowed, because that's not what's going to create the type of environment that we need up on Riverside Parkway with the residential developments that are there. And the reason that caveat was put in there was just for this reason. And, government often the people, the citizens get promised by a governmental body, okay, this is what we're going to do for you. But then those people leave office and new people come in and they go, well, okay, yeah, it was promised to you, but it wasn't me that did that, so, you know, sorry about that. And so, you know, that's sort of the way we look at it there. The city staff just reported on the project. They didn't say they supported the rezoning, as Mr. Westmoreland said. They just reported on it. And so I understand that. And I happen to disagree with their finding that the addition of more warehouses has no negative effect on the safety, health, or economic viability of our neighborhoods there. And if you believe the traffic report that said only 2 to 5 trucks will be added during the peak hours, I've got some oceanfront property over in Douglasville that I'd be glad to show you. And obviously, the good gentleman has not been up and down Riverside Parkway during peak hours to see the trucks and the traffic that's created there. So I plead with you to oppose this rezoning. And, oh, I didn't tell you who I was. Philip Sisk, 9905 Ardwick Greenway, Douglasville, Georgia.
And I apologize for not requiring that, Mr. Sisk. I'm sorry. I should have asked you that up front.
As often as I've been here, I should know that, shouldn't I?
No problem.
Thanks for your time.
Others that would speak, please, come forward. Anyone else? I don't want to cut anyone short, but we do have a long agenda. I want to make sure you have the opportunity, but I am going to close the comment time for that if I see no one else. Seeing no other one that would like to speak, then we will close that portion of the public hearing, and I'll ask one more time, Council, Madam Mayor, you have any questions concerning this item or comments? I will say that I visited the site today and did find the advertisement on the front of the site as required. I did travel further down North River, and I did experience what we'll look at later in our agenda as some of the other sites. That is a dead-end street, and it does have several challenges as far as topo and, in my opinion, power lines, several other things that do cause potential issues with it. One other question, or one other comment, I believe it's bordered, and we may get into this in the next item, it's bordered at least partially by Sweetwater Creek, I do believe. And the property that as you enter North River, I believe on the left is the other building that the gentleman had mentioned that was a similar building that was built for a similar purpose, and I believe they have 3 tenants. I did see that also today. So no other one that would speak. I'll close the public hearing and we'll move on to the next item we'll take this item up on Monday and we'll move on to the next item. Thank you all. Item D, hold a public hearing, consider a request for a variance to eliminate the required screening requirements in section 6.059B of the Unified Development Ordinance for 43.99 acres at 1551 North River Road in land lot 172, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 15. Application again by CHI Acquisitions, LP. Ms. Williams.
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. As the agenda item reads, the applicant is requesting a variance to eliminate screening requirements. There's a special condition that exists which are unique to the subject property that may affect the applicant's ability to comply with screening requirements. The property contains significant variations in topography, which requires the building to be located as proposed. The property is bordered on the southern portion by Sweetwater Creek. As a result, much of the southern portion of the property is located within the flood zone. The proposed loading area of the building is in the back and buffered by Sweetwater Creek. Across the creek is an industrial building with other light industrial zone properties. The existing mature vegetation on the subject property could provide a natural screening for the parcel.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. This is a public hearing. If the applicant would like to make comments concerning this part of our agenda, we would welcome that. Please give us your name and address for the record as you come in, as you approach, and we will hear your comments.
John Bateman, 3715 Northside Parkway, Atlanta, Georgia, 30327. Regarding this proposed variance, we had there was some discrepancy on whether or not the requirement applied to the property as we understood it, so we went ahead and applied for the variance to be safe. But the requirement was when you have a facility like this and the truck court is facing, I believe, a residential or other zoned property, that you should screen that using a screen wall of similar material as the building. In this instance, this property, as mentioned, is an industrial property, and then there's PUD zoned property here. Within the back of the proposed building, truck court here, and the neighboring property, there's hundreds of feet of area that we will not be developing along, and also then Sweetwater Creek. So the purpose of the requirement, which is to screen, is accomplished by all this property that we are not proposing to develop along that side of the property, which is the reason for the requested variance.
Questions, comments?
And also, sorry, you may have noticed this today when you drove the street and the neighboring property. The neighboring properties do not have the screening wall at the rear of the property, I assume for the same reason that we were requesting the variance on.
Okay, we can investigate that. I'm not sure of the reason for that, but one question I would have is, I assume then that by you wanting to develop 18 of the 44 acres, or is it, what was the amount?
Correct.
The property that is not developable would then also be the property behind the building approaching Sweetwater Creek. So it would not be able to be cleared or anything at all done with it, correct?
That is a large portion of the acreage that is not being developed. There's some on the side as well, but that's a majority of it.
And then on the north side, the right side of the site, it is bordered by, I believe I remember seeing a power line easement. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes. But you were only concerned with the rear.
Correct. You're only required to screen where your truck court is.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Yes, sir,
Everyone
Mr.
understand
Chairman.
that?
I do, Mr. Chairman. And so we're saying that rear portion that is typically a requirement to have screened and buffer will have a natural vegetation.
That is correct.
And so they won't be able to see. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would speak in favor of the application? This being a public hearing, we do need to give opportunity. Seeing no one else speaking in favor, is there someone here that would speak in opposition to it? Please come forward. We're going to be quick. Seeing no one else to speak, then we will close the public hearing, and we will take this request for a variance up on Monday night. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item E. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from R2 Single Family Residential Detached District to OI Office Institutional District for 16.15 acres at Timber Ridge Road in Land Lot 54, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 2. Application by Douglasville AL Investors, LLC. Ms. Williams?
Reese Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant is requesting to rezone approximately 16.15 acres from R2 Single Family Residential to OI Office Institutional. The parcel will be developed as an assisted living facility and retirement community with 82 units for assisted living with 32 units for memory care. The facility will be a 24/7 operation with approximately 7 employees and a building of approximately 100,000 square feet. The subject property is located within a Regional Activity Center character area. The Regional Activity Center character area lists the OI zone as one of its recommended uses. If the item is rezoned, the proposed project would still be consistent with the city's future land use map and the comprehensive plan. The subject property is located near the intersection of Presley Mill and Timber Ridge Road. Changing conditions include an anticipated population growth from new senior residents and new senior residential development. According to the ARC, 1 in every 4 people living in the region will be seniors by 2040. The proposed project fits well into the city's Regional Activity Center character area as it incorporates resourcefulness in the design, which is one of the underlying objectivities of the Regional Activity Center character area.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Again, we have a public hearing. I'm assuming there's someone here that would come to speak on behalf of the applicant. I assume that's Mr. Fowler.
Joe Fowler, Post Office Box 49, Douglasville. I'm here tonight with Aubrey Holmes, the Senior Development Manager for the company that's made this application, and also the engineer on the project, Daryl Ray, is here to answer any questions that you may have. The facility will operate under the name Harmony at Douglasville, and our client's been in the senior housing development business for over 38 years, building and managing facilities all across the eastern United States. Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, and the list goes on. It currently operates 32 facilities, has 15 or more now in the development phase, 17 under construction, and is looking at other possible locations at this point. There is one facility in Georgia operated by this company located down in Savannah, offering independent living, assisted living, and memory care. The plan for this operation, Harmony in Douglasville, calls for, as mentioned, 83 assisted living and 32 memory care units built on the 16.15 acre parcel that you see there on the site plan between I-20 Timber Ridge Road. They have the property under contract for purchase, subject, of course, to what goes on with respect to this application. The plan calls for a two-story building, roughly 100,000, more like 95,000 square feet, with a dining room and a courtyard for each of the units, either assisted living or memory care. You can actually see the amenity areas that Daryl has put on the site plan. Roughly 70 employees, and as noted, a 24-hour facility. And interestingly, the demand in our city for facilities of this nature is not at all satisfied, and in fact it's growing, and Aubrey can answer questions you may have regarding the demand for housing of this nature, together with any other questions that you may have. She flew over from Charleston and will be glad to address any questions. As Patrice noted, the staff has recommended approval of the application, finding it to be in keeping with the plan, Regional Activity Center, but also promoting public health, safety, general welfare. Thank you very much. Questions for Aubrey?
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. Appreciate it. Would the applicant like to have any other comments or make any other presentation prior to? We'd welcome that.
Good evening. I'm Aubrey Holmes with Smith Packet. Address is 34 Broad Street, Charleston, South Carolina, 29401. Our in-house analysts have studied Douglasville and have found a growing need. I believe there's a facility just around the corner from this property that was recently opened, and their fill-up rate has been better than normal, even in this pandemic, just showing the need in the community. So we watch the competitors really closely and are excited to be here in the community. We actually opened our Harmony at Savannah building during the pandemic. It opened its doors in March. And actually, I forgot to tell Joe, we opened a new building this week on Monday. So now we're up to 33 buildings for our sister company, Harmony Senior Services. We're excited to be here in Douglasville. We're looking around Georgia. We'd like to have a higher presence here in Georgia. We're really excited to be here, and this would be the second one if you all approve our application.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Questions, comments, council, Madam Mayor, or the applicant? Go ahead, Madam Mayor.
I do, and it may be for Ms. Williams. I'm not certain. I know it's a regional activity center, and it fits within the comprehensive plan. But there's a senior facility on Doris Road, Riverside Parkway, a few weeks ago, and then on Douglas Boulevard, the larger one on Douglas Boulevard. So what our percentage? I know there's a need, and I don't know if it's 55 and older. I go to Ross now because I get my 55 senior day, so I'm not certain of the age range and what that target market would be.
Well, we are, as you know, we're working on the housing study, so I can't say if we're meeting, whatever need that number is here in Douglasville.
Mm-hmm.
We just process the applications as they come in.
Okay, because we do have Benton House, the one on the corner of Timber Ridge and Presley Mill, and so in that area,
Grace.
I'm not certain if we'll.
Grace,
on
Hospital
yes, sir,
Drive.
and Hospital Drive. So Fowler, we have some senior facilities. Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mr.
Others, comments, questions? I'll open the floor then if there might be. Coach, did you have a comment? Coach Watts, did you have a comment? I'm sorry.
No, not at this time.
Okay. I'll open the floor then for anyone that would like to speak either for or against the application. If you'd please come forward. Ms. Stanley, did you have a comment?
No, I just wanted to echo Attorney Fowler that definitely the need is here for the community, and thank you for just thinking about Douglasville. It's definitely a need. Thank you. No other comments. Thank you.
Anyone that would speak either for or against the application, if you'd come forward, identify yourself, give us your name and address for the record. We'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, we will close the public hearing and we will come back on Monday for a vote. And we appreciate you all being here. Thank you. Item F, hold a public hearing and consider a request for a special land use permit for a personal care home for property zoned R2, single-family residential detached, being 7.67 acres at 1520 Doris Road in land lot 228, District 2, Section 5, Parcel 4. Application by Mr. Lon Bell. Ms. Williams?
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant proposes the construction of a new home to allow for a personal care home within an existing residential neighborhood. The applicant requests to care for no more than 4 special needs individuals. The use of the property as a personal care home is allowable by use by review in the R2 zone district. And we do have the applicant with us tonight.
Okay, thank you. Would the applicant like to come forward and make any comment? And we will see if the council or Madam Mayor may have questions. How are you, Mr. Bell?
How are y'all?
Great.
Lon Bell, 6470 Cedar Mountain Road, Douglasville, Georgia. Madam Mayor, Council, thank y'all for the opportunity to present what we want to do here. You just heard what the need is for senior adults in our community, but there's a population that's probably flying under the radar that the need is at least as great or greater for special needs services in Douglas County. Lisa and I, my wife here, we started serving Douglas County, and let me give you a little background about us. We're native Douglasville. East Side, Burnett, Stewart Middle School, Douglas County High School, I did them all. We still live here. This is our home. Her dad was on the police force here. My dad was the chaplain, Douglas County Jail from 1970 to 93 when he passed away. Interesting thing happened in 93. Or getting up to 93. When my dad was chaplain, Douglas County Jail, it was so overwhelming, he needed someone to help him. He got his best friend to come, and his best friend helped him do the chaplain work, but he had a special need daughter. And I kind of grew up with her. Didn't think anything about it. It was just natural for me. So when I attended Douglas County High School, I was taking graphic arts, and across from the graphic arts was the special needs class. So when the bell would ring, everybody come out. Well, I would go over and just kind of hang out with them and play and, you know, just have a good time with them. Didn't think much about it. And I had no idea what effect this was having for my later years in life. So I went ahead with my career, graduated. I went to work for Delta Airlines, was manager out there for a while. I actually had 17 years in with Delta Airlines. Lisa was in the finance world. In the last 5 years at Delta Airlines, I had the most empty feeling in my heart. I knew I was supposed to be doing something different. We had already began helping special needs out of our personal house. And I think the whole time in that last 5 years, God was preparing me for what that we do now. We served special needs out of our personal home. Lisa and I started out of our personal house with our little girls. We did that for years. Then we started our first personal, and I keep saying personal care homes. I want to clear something up. Personal care homes over the years, deservingly so, have got a really black eye for not being what they should be. Let's go ahead and face that. I mean, that just is what it is. We're doing community living arrangements, but I had to submit as a personal care home. So moving back forward to where I was at, we were serving out of our personal home. There was a need, a huge need. Lisa and I saw that. We started our first, then our second. Then we approached the state to become a Medicaid provider on our own right. Instead of subcontracting, we would be the provider for the state of Georgia. We signed a LOA in 2005 as a letter of agreement with the state of Georgia to become a provider for special needs for our county. We're Douglas, Cobb, Paulding, we can go Carroll, and we're in Region 1. Saying all that to say that our vested interest was to serve these special needs. When we did that, we began to grow more. And I was at Delta, and that's the time frame I'm talking about with that 5 years. I knew something was going on. I knew I needed to leave. I knew I needed to be in this full time. And the opportunity arose, and I ended up leaving Delta to do this full time. Stepped out on faith. Lisa and I both did. And here we are. We have 2-day programs, one in Hiram, one right here in the city of Douglasville. We have business right here in the city of Douglasville helping special needs. What we strive to do is put individuals in a home that you would not know as a personal care home. We want them integrated into the community just like you would want to be. You know, that's the whole plan. We have oversight that is much more rigid and strenuous than a personal care home. We have people, support coordinators for the special need that come in every month to monitor them, to monitor the home, to make sure that we're performing at the level we need to be. We are accredited. If you go to any of the homes that are nursing homes, those kind of things, even hospitals, there's an accreditation they have to go through if they're a real good service called Joint Commission or CARF, those kind of accreditations. We are accredited, have been for years. Our last score was a 99, which was outstanding, and we serve many, many individuals in the area. I've got a short video clip. It seems like we're talking now in life, pre-COVID or post-COVID. We celebrated our 20th anniversary right before COVID hit in the summer, and we're now into our 21st year of doing what we love. But I want to show a short clip of the individuals we serve, and then I'll take any questions.
Hi, I'm Lon Bell. This is my wife, Lisa. We're here today. We've been celebrating our 20th year anniversary of having the Shannon Foundation. 20 years ago, Lisa and I felt a call to do something differently, and we're both in the corporate world. Decided to form the Shannon Foundation. We had a fateful vacation where we went and saw programs similar to what we're doing, and we began our first personal care home, serving 2 individuals personally with our family. And through the time, as we grew, now we're serving 110 individuals through multiple locations. We have 2-day programs. And we have been doing this now for 20 years, as I say. Today has just been a celebration of that. And we're just so thankful to be able to do what we do and be able to do what we enjoy. We're so thrilled at where we've gotten to and where we've been blessed to do, and we really can't wait to see where the future takes us.
That's a very quick snapshot of our life. So if we have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Questions, comments? You all have seen the presentation, heard from the applicant.
Yeah,
I
have
just
a
can't
comment.
wait. I know that Ms.
I can't
Stanley's
wait.
got something to say.
I was teary. Thank you for all that you do. It is just the heart and soul of what so many individuals need. And, you know, just to be able to service 4 is just so little. I wish that you could be everywhere.
Well, that's, we're regulated to 4 in one home, and that I wouldn't really want to serve more than 4 per location. The goal is to have a family environment. we're serving people we started serving in 1999. We're still serving them today.
Awesome.
And they're like sisters, you know, and a lot of them don't have family. So that becomes their family. And we want to develop family units. So I would like to do other homes and develop other family units. But y'all know as well as I do, if you watch any news, the need for special needs services, the rate of special needs being born now are elevating. They're going up every day. The statistics are changing year to year. I watch that, and it's astounding how much is happening now in the need. But yeah, we love it.
Yeah, thank you. I can't say anymore. It just overjoys my heart to just see what you do. Thank you.
Others? Madam Mayor?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Bell, for coming in. It's heartwarming, as Dr. Bird-Danley has said, what you've done to the least of these, you've done to me. So thank you for having the heart for the individual, special individuals in our community. The COVID restrictions, are you going to, I know that the cavalry's on the way, as Dr. Fauci has said, but we haven't gotten
we're hoping and praying. So yeah, we're having to, our individuals that live in a home, the way we were running our day programs before, we had to shut our day programs down for over 7 months. And when it eased up a little bit, the governor gave us a little leeway. What I did, I rearranged both day programs. So everybody that's in our personal care home now, they had to stay in their house for 7 months, y'all. They didn't get to get out like we do. And it was hard. It was extremely hard on them. So I had to take a hard look at how the mental health. We don't deal with mental health. We deal with MR, special needs. But their mental health was deteriorating because it was like being locked down.
Right.
So I reevaluated how we could do our program. I took one center and took all our residential just to one center. And then if you had a special needs child that we were serving in the daytime, we took them to a separate center so we could isolate the ones that might have more medical issues and keep them safer. So yeah, we've put protocols into place.
Okay.
Our staff, we do protocols with staff just like everybody's having to do now, but we do all that. Chances are in this room, just with us right here, somebody has special needs in their family, and you kind of get where it's at. But we're doing everything we can to keep them safe and give them a life. You know, they still got to live. So,
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Anyone else? Would there be anyone that would speak on this application? It being a public hearing, we need to give opportunity for that. Mr. Bell, thank you and your wife both for coming in. Anyone here that would speak either for or against? Please come forward. Not seeing anyone, then we'll close that portion of the public hearing. And we will take this up on Monday night for a vote if there's nothing else. Thank you very much. Appreciate you all. We will go on then to item number G. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a special land use permit for a funeral home for property zoned R2 single family residential, detached, being 2.49 acres at 8312 Highway 92. 6661 Ridge Avenue and 6645 Ridge Avenue, land lot 17, District 1, Section 5D, parcels 18, 20, and 82, application by Watkins Mortuary. Ms. Williams?
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant proposes a renewal of a special land use permit for an existing funeral home at 8312 Dallas Highway. This property previously had a special land use permit which has expired. Additionally, the applicant would like to request a special land use permit for properties located at 6661 Ridge Avenue and 6645 Ridge Avenue. The funeral home has not been detrimental to or an endangerment to the public health, safety, or general welfare. The funeral home is within scale and scope of the existing neighborhood and is in character with the existing transportation network. The proposed use is allowable in an R2 district with an approved special land use permit.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Would the applicant like to come forward if you have a representative and
Good evening.
stay?
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. My name is Willie A. Watkins. I'm the owner of Willie A. Watkins from Douglasville. Let me just say this. I've been here in this community for 15 years, and because of the fact the communities have received us well, it is time for us to expand and do some things in the community, because I'm like this with my business. I don't want no one to think I'm taking all the money out of my business and put it somewhere else. I believe in doing something for my business and make sure it meet the needs of the people. And that's why we're here today now, because we want to expand our business and do some things in the business that will help the community, develop the community. Because since we've been there on this side of the railroad track, there have not been any development at all. So therefore, maybe if we can entice some people to see that we're spending money in the community, some people may want to come in and help develop it into where it needs to be on the other side of the railroad track.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Questions, comments of the applicant? Mayor? Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Watkins, it's just a pleasure to see you. The illustrious Mr. Willie Watkins, we appreciate you coming, taking the time to come to the council and speak to us, and Mr. Greg Ursery and the Honorable Devitrion Caldwell. Congratulations on your school board election. But thank you so much, Mr. Watkins, for everything that you do in the community and how you give back every year for Labor Day. You have a picnic where you provide inspirational music and talent, and you feed the community, and you do that throughout the year during voting time. You provide rides to the polling facilities. So we appreciate everything that you've done for the community and what you continue, what you will continue to do. We do have some development it's in the pipeline coming on the north side, and the realignment is proposed to be completed in 2021, August. We're going to cross our fingers. So we're hoping that more development will come. We have decorations that are going in Jesse Davis Park. They're going to be absolutely beautiful for Christmas. So we are paying attention. We're trying to make Douglasville look like Douglasville regardless of where the proximity is. So thank you for investing in the community and wanting to grow. And thank you again for coming this evening. It's great to see you and what you give to the community.
I think.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Others? Mr. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Watkins, for what you're doing, especially the Willie Watkins name seems to be a bit of a gold standard around here for community involvement. And so if you can keep setting the example, for hopefully a lot of people will follow you as well. I appreciate what you've done for the community. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Others?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Mr. Watkins, thank you. Thank you. This is expansion, Mr. Watson, that you're doing, or renewal?
I can hear you, sir.
Is this an expansion?
Yes, it is. I mean, yes, we're going to remodel the existing building, and we're going to add on to we bought the houses in the back, and we're going to make that a part of the funeral home. Also, with repass rooms, so we could service our families in the way that others are serving their family. And then more parkings, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, good. I just want to hear you say it, Mr. Watkins. Thank you a lot. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. Your funeral home is in the ward where Councilmember David and I serve, and I just want to say you're a very busy man. So for you to be here is very honorable, and I know that you and your staff, from what I've seen here in Douglasville, you're a man of standard and excellence and professional, and I am very excited to see that you're bringing all of this together and how we can develop and work with you. Thank you.
Anyone else? As I've said before, this being a public hearing, we need to give opportunity for those that might want to speak either for or against the application. Basically, renewal of a special land use permit. Anyone that would like to speak either for or against, please come forward. I see Mr. Ursery might like to say something.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Before Mr. Ushery, I'm sorry, this is a renewal, but it's also to combine all three, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Yes, we're looking for the renewal of the property, and then we have two other properties behind us we're trying to combine. And as Mr. Watkins stated, we're trying to be able to offer to the community, first-class service as he offers at his other locations. So we truly, as I stated before in our zoning meeting, that we have pretty much outgrown where we're at. So we need to do some things to make sure that we continue to serve the community in the manner that, in the standard that he would like it to be. So we appreciate you all considering it. I've been here in Douglasville 14 years. Out of the 15 years that he's been open, so my heart and everything that's right here. in Douglasville. We have buried some and had some clients that come through the door, some wonderful people in Douglasville. And I really think that we have made a great impact on the community, and we trying to continue to make that impact, whether we just want to be there to be a help to the community. You know, of course, we're business, but the thing is, though, we try to think of all kinds of ideas to make sure that we're taking care of the needs of the people. So we definitely support it. I definitely support it. You know, I've been there 14 years, so I definitely support it. We appreciate you all. We thank you. And we even thank the councilwoman for even entrusting her family in our care. So I said we did a good job for when she sent her family there. So, you know, we just want to expand out and do some things and be competitive, and not be competitive, but just let Douglasville know that, guess what? We can be like Atlanta. I tell Mr. Watkins all the time, we want to be like West End. We want to grow. We want to do some things. So we appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Someone else. My husband's family goes to the West End. Mr. Watkins know that they're from Atlanta. So.
But you live out here, though.
Well, they.
The greeting, mayors and member of council. As always, it's an honor to be here. And just wanted to say that I echo the sentiments of
Mr. Caldwell.
All of you.
Oh.
Name and address for the record.
Dimitri on Caldwell, 6636 Woodrow Avenue, Douglasville, Georgia. But as I was saying, I just want to echo the sentiments of all of you, and even Mr. Watkins and Mr. Ushery, that Willie Watkins Funeral Home, Mr. Watkins has established the company as a vital community-driven organization as well as a business. And so we just would love to continue to just do great things in Douglasville and continue to move forward. So I strongly encourage y'all's support and approval of this item. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else that would speak?
Another item that I noticed that we're down to come every 2 years. So a concern that we have.
We'll take care of that.
You'll take care of that?
We'll take care of that.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Anyone else would like to speak either for or against the item? No others? Then we'll close that portion of the public hearing. But in reply to you, Mr. Ushery, I see no reason. You all are property owners. These 3 properties are contiguous. It's my understanding they all are joined together, and you're going to improve all of those as a part of this. I have been a proponent of not having a property owner so long as there's not an issue, has not been any problems in having you have to come back every 2 years, which I know this one has not been renewed that way, possibly as it should, but that's not a problem. But we'd like to see it stay with the property and your use be there as long as you're there operating and owning is what I would hope that our group would come up with. Is there any comment or question to that effect?
I concur.
Okay. Then we'll close the public hearing and we'll be here Monday night to vote. Thank you all. Appreciate you being here. Okay, item H. Consider a request for final plat approval for the purpose of subdividing into 5 tracts for 359.259 acres at North River Road in land lot 166, District 1, Section 5, parcels 1, 2, and 4, and land lot 173, District 1, Section 5, parcels 2 and 11, and land lot 174, District 1, Section 5, parcel 1, and land lot 998, District 18, Section 2, parcel 1, application by Pablo Garcia, Urban Engineers Incorporated. Ms. Williams?
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. As the agenda item reads, the applicant is seeking a final plat approval for subdividing 5 tracts. City staff has reviewed the application and attachments and has determined that the proposed plat meets final plat requirements of the UDO. And we do have the applicant with us tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. If the applicant would like to come forward and make any comment, we would welcome that. Please give us your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Brian Cardoza, Rooker Riverside, 445 Bishop Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318. Just a quick point of clarification. It does say the applicant is Pablo Garcia, Urban Engineers. That is our civil engineer. They just submitted this on our behalf.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for having me. I've been before this council before, so you're, I think, familiar with our development, but I'll say it quickly. We purchased this property out of Riverside West years ago, 2012, 2013 time frame, and we have developed intentionally in phases. And now we're in our final phase, which has brought me here tonight to request this replat. You have before you, I think in your packet, there's 5 tracts. Tract B, 67 acres, is specific to Project Douglas that was discussed earlier. Tract A, it is our intent, will also become part of Project Douglas. And we figured while we are at it, as we are in the last phase, our park has developed to where we feel like we can finally plat this out the way we envision the future development. Plat D is a tract that we've already graded. Tract C is just remaining raw land, as is Tract E. It's just on the other side of Summer Lake Road. So really what we're doing is project specific on a couple of these and then cleaning things up for the others.
Mr. Cardoza, the Tract D as in David is the one that has been graded and prepared, correct? That's
Yes,
on
sir.
the right as you go down to the cul-de-sac.
That's
As
correct.
I said earlier, I was there today. Tract, would you reiterate the two tracts that you say are part of the project that was talked about earlier tonight?
Yes, so B, as you were look on North River Road and you look to your right, you saw the pad site. To your left, there was a road that goes up, and there's another pad site up there. That is Tract B. In between B and actually your earlier applicant looking to get the special land use permit is where our Tract A sits. So the power line is kind of our southern boundary.
Yes.
And then, of course, B will be the other boundary.
Gotcha.
It's
And that
raw
is the
property
last
today.
of your development property. That is the last of the property. The tracks that you're identifying here, that's the last of the development on that street. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That would complete it.
That'll complete it.
Okay. Questions, comments? Ms. Williams has provided you with information concerning the applicability of this final plat request and that it is within requirements of the UDO. Are there any questions or comments? One that would have a comment, public comment? Seeing none? Okay. Mr. Cardoza, we will take this up on Monday night. We appreciate you coming in. It's a good looking job. It really is. Good looking project. A lot of grading had to be done. Did you hit a lot of rock? Just a little bit. Why would I think that? Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Moving on then to item I. Consider a request for plat approval for the purpose of right-of-way dedication for 3.159 acres at North River Road in land lot 173, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 2. Application by Brian Cardoza for Rooker Riverside. Ms. Williams?
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant is proposing to dedicate the final phase of North River Road development to the city. All previous phases of the North River Road development have been dedicated to the city already. This is the final phase of North River Road development project. City staff has reviewed the application and attachments and has determined that the proposed plat meets final plat approval requirement for the UDO.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Mr. Cardoza, did you have any comments on this particular item that you needed to state?
If I could just say, maybe it's the obvious, but we have provided the bond. We know you get a 5-year performance bond that's required. That was sent electronically today. It'll go into effect December 7th, which is coincidentally right after this, you're hearing Monday night. And it's for 5 years. The paving is done. You saw it today. The sidewalks are in. Temporary grassing is in. We'll put our permanent grassing as well as our landscape trees that match the rest of the parkway when the season, better, we're not going to do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do it in the spring.
Is the final topping on that street, or is it not required until a later date?
It will be complete. We should finish it tomorrow.
Okay. And one other question while I have you there, if you don't mind. When you turn onto North River Road, as I talked about earlier that I visited this afternoon, the building on the left there, is that a similar building to what the persons that were here concerning the variance and the special land use plan, is that the building they were referring to?
First one on the left, yes.
That's what I thought. And you had done that, what, 2 years ago now?
A little longer than that. I think we finished that in 2017, so it's
time flies.
three and a half years now, yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll take this up on Monday night. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll go to item J. Please keep me on point. Someone don't let me skip one.
You're doing great.
hold a public hearing, consider a request for a variance to eliminate the requirements in section 2.06A of the Unified Development Ordinance and allow for the use of corrugated metal siding for .787 acres at 8728 Club Drive, Land Lot 16, District 1, Section 5D, Parcel 3. Application by City of Douglasville. Ms. Williams.
Reese Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. The applicant proposes a variance to eliminate the requirements in section 2.06A of the Unified Development Ordinance and allow for the use of corrugated metal for .787 acres at 8578 Club Drive. Also, the applicant seeks to repair the storage building by replacing deteriorated siding and re-roof the structures by using corrugated metal materials. The renovation of the structure is done in preparation for Parks and Recreation Department to store equipment and material. There are special conditions that exist which are unique to the existing structure residing on the subject property that may affect the applicant's ability to comply with requirements of the UDO. The existing structure was previously built utilizing corrugated metal materials, and the applicant wishes to repair the structure utilizing the same materials which are currently prohibited in the UDO. The existing building currently has deteriorated siding and roofing that are now considered non-conforming. The applicant wishes to replace the materials with the same materials. As a result, this would not result in enhancing the nonconformity of the structure. The variance will not affect the essential character of the neighborhood and will have a minimum effect. The proposed renovations will be a major improvement over the existing conditions, resulting in a more attractive building.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Just for clarity now, let's make sure everyone knows that this is the property on Club Drive, the back building, which is basically the maintenance facilities, metal building that's been there for many, many years, and we're basically, I think, planning to just refurbish, as I'm sure he's going to tell us in just a moment, and I apologize. I think that's what we're talking about. So go ahead, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Sean Craig, CPS. We're the program managers for the Club Drive project and the other buildings here in the city. 104 Warrington Drive, 3134. You are correct, Councilman Adams, that it is the rear building. As you pull in the asphalt driveway, you've got the office building on the right, and it's the storage building / service building in the very back of the facility underneath the cell tower. And it's currently a pre-engineered metal building. That's as it was constructed. Our intent for the project from day one is to just reskin the facility, put a new roof on it. The existing ordinance requires siding, and it's counterproductive to the way that building was built. And that we filed the variance in that regard.
Thank you, sir. It being a public hearing, is there, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a comment?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Have you inspected to see if there is a sight line from the new Town Green location to the back of it? Can you see it from the town? Will you be able to see it from the Town Green? I guess that's the question I have. And I ask that because I think it's rather important.
Well, I don't think you can. No, you can't see it from the road. The driveway is elevated, and it's in the back underneath the tree canopies.
Well, the fact that it is elevated, that's my concern. Because
no, the driveway is elevated. It kind of blocks the view. The view from the street is very limited. You see the office building, and then in the very back, it's kind of sitting down in a hole. Whereas,
as long as Airway Christian School is there, you'll never see that.
Pardon me. Yeah,
now you'll see the brick building, the old water filter plant, where my office used to be for so many years. You might see some of that, but the people at the amphitheater are going to see the stage, and that stage is going to block some of that out. Right. You will have some glimpses of the old brick building, but
I'm thinking along the curve. You've got the new
would not be able to
street.
see anything past inside that driveway. You might catch the side of the old brick building and the old boogie barn, as some of us know, that is part of that's what it was 60, 70 years ago.
Mr. Roberts, I believe that's the reason. That is actually the reason I asked the question, to make sure we were talking about the back building.
Yes, it is.
That you will have a very large elevation change, I'm going to assume, when the grading before the new amphitheater is done. You'll be down more, I would assume. You'll be looking uphill. Now, if we were talking about the brick building up front or the fence around that brick building, about refacing it and redoing it with what's there now, I would probably have a problem with it. But that being the back building and it being hidden and screened, I don't have a problem with.
It's going to be screened by a front gate, and it's screened by the brick building up in the front.
Yes.
I just want to make sure the people who are attending the
totally understand.
Even especially along, not even just the amphitheater, but the intent is maybe to have farmers markets along that curved road that aligns with Spring Street. That's a little farther to the south, and so there might be it might be in line with that view shed. But as long as it's not,
that building is several hundred feet off the road. You won't be able to see it.
Okay.
And we can select colors to make it even more invisible. More muted colors to make it go away.
Camouflage.
Other questions, comments?
That's fine.
Anyone have a comment, question? I'll open the floor to see if there might be anyone here that would speak either for or against the application. Please come forward. Any other comment? Mr. Thompson, did you have a comment you wanted to make? Okay. Seeing no one else to speak, if there's no other input by the council or Madam Mayor, then I'll close the public hearing. Thank you all for coming, and we will be here on Monday to vote on this item. Thank you. Madam Mayor, that's all that we have under, pardon me, I've even forgotten the name of the committee, Planning and Development Committee tonight. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Mr. Chairman, you did an excellent job. I think that's a marathon. It might be a new record. We'll go to item 11, which is Public Improvement and Beautification Committee, and I'll ask the Mayor Pro Tem to take this committee as Councilman Adams is the vice chair, and he is needing to take a break, which we can understand. So if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, if you take this committee, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item under the Public Improvement and Beautification Committee tonight, and that is to appoint an individual as the Post 4 member of Keep Douglasville Beautiful Board for a term expiring December 31st, 2023. Seems so far off in the future, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Chelsea Jackson, 6695 Church Street. As you all know, a couple of weeks ago, the ordinance for Keep Douglasville Beautiful Board did change, so that's why that term seems so far away, because now they serve 3-year terms. Currently, there is one post 4, that is vacant on the KDB board. There are 2 individuals that you have interviewed. One was tonight, Ms. Sarah Petroselli, and then about 2 weeks ago, you interviewed Ms. Sharon Hill Robinson. They both qualify for this post. The individual that you all do not select, they can serve on the advisory board. That's what the new ordinance did, establish that individuals can serve on the advisory board if they're not on the actual voting board. So that individual will serve on that, and you all will have a ballot on Monday night to select an individual.
Thank you, Ms. Chelsea. So we will have a vote on Monday between the 2 candidates. Remind me again, when did we interview the first candidate?
Ms. Sharon Hill Robinson, she was the last round of meetings.
Okay, last cycle, okay. So it's nice that we have more than one person who wants to be on a board. Like that. It's good. They're becoming hot, competitive properties.
Yes, sir. And then also the attachments, you do have Ms. Petroselli and Ms. Robinson's resume, and they will also be in your highlights, so you can review over the weekend as well.
Okay. Any questions or comments from those who are left here tonight? I guess otherwise we will have our vote on Monday then, and that's all there is. Thank you very much, Ms. Jackson. Madam Mayor, that's all we have under the Public Improvement and Beautification Committee at this
Thank
time.
you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you for being gracious enough to take that committee. We'll move on to item number 12, which is Public Relations Committee. Councilman Estes isn't here. The vice chair is Councilmember Samuel Davis.
No items at this time, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. We'll move on to your committee, which is Public Safety Committee. That's chaired by Councilman Davis.
I have a couple of items. Item A, starting with item A, adopt an ordinance enacting a revised speed limit chart with revised hours for school zone on West Stewart Mill Road. Mr. Thompson.
Evening, Marcus Thompson, 6701 Church Street, project manager. So this is basically a house cleaning item, assisting the county with fine tuning of speed limit and school zone changes for shared roads. Basically for the West Stewart's Mill Road, the county recommends changing the school zone hours from 45 minutes to 1 hour to cover the morning breakfast traffic. The school zone hours would be made effective as follows. In the AM, from 45 minutes prior to commencement time to 15 minutes after commencement time. in the PM from 30 minutes prior to dismissal time to 30 minutes after dismissal time. And please note, Cobb County has adopted this school speed zone hour for an hour. That's all. Any questions?
Mr. Thompson, so the flashes will start going on, the flasher will start flashing?
Yes, sir.
When it's the school zone, the flashes start flashing when the zone starts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Council, Madam Mayor? Can we good? All right, if it's the council will, can I put this on a consent agenda for Monday? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you.
Moving on to item B, consider a request for open container days in the entertainment district from 6 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. on December 11th. Ms. Faye, come on down. State your name and.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Ray with the Douglas County Chamber, 6658 Church Street.
All right, so I looked over, it looked like we have a event going on the 11th, what you call it?
Yes, it's our young professionals. It's our Advancing Modern Professionals in Douglas. It's their Tacky Christmas Sweater Pub Crawl. And this is the 10th year that we've been doing, actually I think it's the 11th year that we've been doing this. And they travel and visit and support local businesses in downtown Douglasville. They start at the Chamber, we go to Gabe's, Blue Rose, Art Bistro, Gumbo's, and Fabiano's.
Yes, thank you. Council, Madam Mayor?
I do have a question. Good to see you, Miss Sarah.
Hi, good to see you too,
Thank
all
you.
of you.
How are you going to do the COVID requirements, mask and social distancing and all of that?
Yes, so we are requiring that people, as they enter the event, that they wear masks. Obviously, when they're partaking in beverages, then they can remove those. But we are asking that all of the restaurants make sure that they're socially distanced, and that, like at Gabe's, we're going to be upstairs on the patio, and just trying to make sure that people can stay as far away from each other as they can. We also normally do the chamber sponsors shared appetizers, but we're asking for everybody to purchase their food on their own, so there's no kind of cross contamination.
Okay, I just don't want us to be a super spreader.
Oh yeah, no.
Everyone gets sick. So
anyone else?
Are you letting old professionals in?
Yes,
this
it is open to all ages, while young professionals are considered 21 to 40-ish, as I am on the cusp of that. We've welcomed all ages at any time, and they use this as a fundraiser. They actually ask that people are donating toys for Operation Christmas or personal hygiene items that they donate to some of the local charities in our community.
Oh, good. So you're taking in all the restaurants and 21 and over, and make sure they had the ID?
Correct.
And we're good to go. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. If not, Madam Mayor, can we put this on the consent agenda for Monday? So say everyone to come back.
everyone looking at it's okay?
Okay. Thank you, Miss.
Great. Come join us. Thank you.
That's all I have, Miss Sarah. Madam Mayor, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Ray. We'll move on to Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in Recreation, Culture, and Tourism.
Thank you so much, Councilman Watts. We'll move on to Technology Committee. That's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item tonight under the Technology Committee, and that is to authorize the mayor to sign an enrollment agreement for volume licensing and related documents with Microsoft Corporation to continue the city's use of Microsoft for Office 365 and other software. Mr. Jenkins will present to us tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good to see you guys.
Good evening.
Sam Jenkins, IT Manager, 6695 Church Street. So it's that time of the year now to basically renew the Microsoft 365 license. We have basically 325 users, so we're asking that the mayor sign the agreement and the contract to get our license renewed.
Into breathing when it comes to office functions. With 365.
It's one of our bread and butter right there, Microsoft Office 365.
Questions or comments from member of the council or the Madam Mayor? Okay. I would say that I find very little controversy over this, so if there's no objection, we'll put this on the consent agenda for Monday.
All right, thank you.
That's all we have under Technology Committee tonight, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We'll move on to item 16, Transportation Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Berdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have 4 items tonight under transportation, and the first item is to adopt the final draft of the comprehensive transportation plan and transmit the plan to the Atlanta Regional Commission. Mrs. McNown, April.
April McCown, 6701 Church Street, Planning Manager, City of Douglasville. So what you have in front of you is the Comprehensive Transportation Plan final draft. We did make some adjustments per the recommendations of Mayor and Council at the last meeting. It did stay on the website for 4 weeks, and we did not receive any additional comments from the public. And our goal here, of course, is to adopt the plan and transmit that plan to the Atlanta Regional Commission.
Okay. Do we have any questions from our Mayor and Council? It's a very thorough, comprehensive plan. Worked very hard on getting this completed.
Looks great.
And I will denote that we did place asterisks next to city, county, possible projects, and we did double check the roadway names for accuracy, because we do have quite a few names that were one letter off, or Doris Road, for example.
Right.
Yes.
No questions? All right, and I won't put this on the consent agenda, being the fact that if you haven't had a chance to read it, it's a good read for you to fall asleep over the weekend. It's good information.
Ms. Stanley, before we go forward,
Sure.
along with what has been said here, as far as spelling and so forth and so on, I'm just noticing on page 10, DTP 25, Ellis Avenue. I wouldn't make a comment except that I grew up on that street as a young kid. I believe that's Ellis Street. I don't think it's Ellis Avenue. I don't know if that makes any difference. I just don't want us to have to come back and
We can absolutely make that
corrections.
change.
But
Yeah.
I'm just noticing that you mentioned the spellings and how sensitive that is. That is actually Ellis Street.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Thank
We'll make
you.
that adjustment. Thank you for recognizing
Just
that.
didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay. That's another reason why we can detail read it. Thank you, Councilman Adams. Okay, I'll go to the second item, is to adopt the final plan of the downtown bicycle and pedestrian connectivity plan and transmit this plan to the Atlanta Regional Commission.
Again, 6701 Church Street, April McCown, Planning Manager. So what you have before you is the downtown bicycle and pedestrian plan, part of a larger, of course, connectivity plan for bicycle and pedestrian for the entire city. This one gives you the more detailed version. You did receive this plan 4 weeks ago. It did go on the website for 4 weeks for public comment. We did, at the request, of course, of Councilman Watts, add Selman Lane back in as well into the plan, as well as into the larger plan. So we did make that adjustment. Other than that, we did not receive any additional recommendations via public comment.
Okay, thank you.
I'll ask that same question. Selman Lane or Selman Drive?
Selman Drive.
To be Selman Drive?
Selman Drive. It
Okay.
is not Selman Lane. Selman Drive.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
No, no apology. Thank you.
That's what we're supposed to do.
Adams, that's right.
I think you need to.
Okay.
Google Maps is off, by the way, so I'm going to call Google.
I totally
they
understand that. They weren't alive when we started all that, okay?
They weren't allowed.
Way back, that's right.
Thank you.
The third item is to authorize the mayor to sign Task Order 22. This is an item that we discussed in our committee with AECOM Technical Services, Inc., amending the parties' professional service agreement of August 26, 2015 to add a scope of work for self-evaluation and transition plan to conform certain city facilities to the requirement of the American with Disabilities Act and guidelines. Ms. April.
Again, April McCown, 6701 Church Street, Planning Manager, City of Douglasville. So what you have before you, you did receive during committee. This is Task Order 22, allowing AECOM Technical Services to start Phase 1 of an ADA transitional plan, which is something that identifies the needs of mobility as well as anyone that is considered ADA or has an ADA disability. Or is recognized as a disability with ADA. And the plan itself is phased, of course, into 3 phases. And so this would be for Phase 1, which is, let's see here, is the self-evaluation of the policies and practices of the City of Douglasville.
Thank you. And the last item is to adopt a resolution approving a projects list for the city's application for the GDOT 2021 LMIG grant. Authorize the application to be submitted and authorize the mayor to sign the local government certification an affidavit in connection with the application. Mr. Roberts?
Yes, Greg Roberts, Public Services Department. We discussed these 11 streets in the 5 o'clock, so if there are any questions or comments, recommendations.
Nothing? All right, so would anyone object to adding this to the consent agenda? No?
Let's roll. Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Thank you.
There are no other items under transportation, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. We'll move on then to other business. Is there any other business to come before committees tonight from council members? Thank you. I don't see any updates from city staff or city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Chief Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Susan Littlefield.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Our Chief of Police, Chief Gary Sparks.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Our City Manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
Yes, ma'am. Only one item. I sent you all some additional information for your executive session item via email. I just received that this week, so you will have that as we go into discussion on that. And also, Ms. Jackson reminded me that the information on recycling will be sent out separately, but it will be sent out following the information we send out on the rate. So not to confuse our residents, we're sending out each information at a time.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. City Manager. Staff report, Councilman Davis, will you take that since you are the Vice Chair of Community Relations?
Yes, ma'am. Update from Community Relations regarding upcoming and long-term events planning. Mr. Post, come on down.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. Jason Post, Community Relations, 6695 Church Street. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on our upcoming kind of holiday activities that we have coming up, so you guys had an idea what was going on in a few of the things that we have coming up down the road. So we know that we unfortunately weren't able to hold our regular in-person Christmas parade and tree lighting events this year, but we did want to continue to celebrate the season. We know probably this year more than ever we still need to celebrate this season. So what we have is starting on Saturday at 6 o'clock, we will have a virtual tree lighting, which we filmed with the mayor and a few of you last week, and that will be on our Facebook page at 6:30 on Saturday evening. So that will air as a Facebook Live, and it will be followed by a visit with Santa Claus where he will be reading some letters and answering some questions for some kids in our community. So that will kick off our Celebration of Lights events for December. So throughout December, we're going to be doing a few things to celebrate. So we're excuse me, we're obviously inviting our citizens to come downtown and enjoy the professional lights displays that will be installed on Ono Plaza. Those are scheduled to be installed starting next week, hopefully. So as they're here, we're also holding a Main Street Holiday Facade Contest. So we've asked our downtown restaurants and businesses to decorate their storefronts, and as citizens come down to enjoy the lights, they can explore the downtown businesses, and they can go to our Facebook page and they can vote on their favorite storefront, and we'll be awarding first, second, third place prizes to those participating businesses. So we are also holding our Deck the Homes Holiday Decorating Contest. Now this is for personal homes. So citizens in all of the Douglas County community can submit their homes on our website, submit pictures and photos of their Griswold decorations of their house. We have a panel of judges that will judge first, second, third place prizes for those homes. And then we have a People's Choice Award that we will give out based on social media feedback for that. People are really excited about that one. Our letters to Santa that we collect every year. This year, we have our mailbox right out in front of the conference center. So we are collecting letters to help deliver to Santa. This year, we also have a few elves that are going to help us help Santa to reply to those letters. So we actually put that up on the website earlier this week. We've got a couple of dozen submissions already. So we are getting those in. As long as they get in with enough time, they will get a response from the big guy as well. We're also going to be hosting another Douglasville Live Trivia Night on our Facebook page on December the 10th. This will be the third live trivia that we've done. This will be a holiday-themed trivia, so that should be a fun evening as well. So those are all kind of events that are encompassed in our Celebration of Lights activities. In addition, the Parks and Recreation have a couple of activities that they've got planned. On December 21st, they will be hosting the Tales of Christmas craft activity. And on December 23rd, they'll be hosting a Christmas Around the World craft activity. Now, these are virtual instructor-led activities that kids can pick up a craft kit and then log on and virtually do this craft with an instructor from the park. So the parks have been amazing throughout all of COVID, coming up with really great innovative ideas to continue to connect with the kids and stuff in the community. So they're continuing to do that. On into the new year, so that's all of our kind of a holiday events. On into the new year, we do have a couple of things on the calendar officially. In January, the Parks and Recreation Department will be hosting a homeowners workshop at the Alice J. Hawthorne Center on January 30th. And the Convention and Visitors Bureau will be hosting their annual Behind the Veil Bridal Showcase here at the Conference Center on February 21st. And those will both be limited capacity with social distancing practices in place for temperature checks, hand sanitizers, masks, and all of those measures. So that's kind of what we have on the calendar so far. We do have some long-term stuff we're still working on, and we're trying to come up with innovative ideas to do some activities and events within the community, but we're not planning anything that we can't do with a good COVID-compliant plan in place. Even at this point, when we're talking vaccine stuff, we know that it's still going to be months before that really makes a solid impact on cases. So any planning that we're doing at this point will be COVID compliant, drive-through, virtual, small events that we can still have social distancing and masks and stuff in place. So we're trying to come up with some new ideas to make sure we can still do things, but still engage with the community, but do it safely. So.
And with the governor. Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir. I have just a couple of questions. Mr. Post, the lights for Jesse Davis Park, I know I signed something for some extensions, or it's not extension cords, but something to help plug everything in. Has that been installed?
I'll have to defer on the Jesse Davis portion. I know the O'Neill Plaza portion is set to be installed next week to begin, but I'm not sure about the Jesse Davis portion. I know there was some additional issues there.
Yeah, we had to do some. And so next week, is there a specific day or?
They haven't given us a solid date yet, other than they're going to hopefully start next week. There are some larger pieces that they can't guarantee will be here until the 14th, but they will be installing stuff starting next week, and there'll be stuff out. They have a couple of pieces they're trying to get in, and that they said the 14th would be the drop dead last day that those larger pieces might be here.
Well, what did our contract say? Yeah, we're paying a lot of money. They can't do that.
I know it. So will it be here to New Year's?
Last week, so I think
it's based on timeline and turnaround. They couldn't actually order the pieces in until we signed the contract for that. So
the contract was signed last Friday. So 2 weeks?
Officially? Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Thanksgiving holiday. Yeah, so they should be out first of next week to hopefully start installing stuff. So we will have stuff out there, but they're hoping to get it all out sooner than that. That was their back end date to be the absolute latest to have all of the pieces out.
I hope so, because they have to fit us in.
2 weeks.
It's our first time, using them.
Not sure what the end date for that would be. As long as we wanted it to stay up, I would imagine.
Okay.
Good evening. To answer your question regarding the additional costs related to Jesse Davis, they gave us a proposal that required them to get additional measurements and do some additional boring so they could have the connectivity for the lights. So that was the additional cost that was proposed to us that we sent to the city manager. Those were the increases. I think it was a total of around like 15,000 for the additional cost.
Ms. Landon, are you talking about electrical work to provide power for the lights, or are you talking about lights?
The electrical work.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Would the electrical work be coming off from the sheds Will they be running electric work from the sheds?
No, they will be doing boring throughout the property, and I think they had some measurements and other areas that they highlighted on the park, not the shed specifically, but it was borings in the park that didn't connect to the sheds. So I can research through here to get more detailed information from the email he sent. Correct.
Is it going to be done in time for them to install? When is the?
Well, given the quick turnaround that we had on the approval for them to move forward with it, he didn't say that it would have an impact on the schedule, but I can follow up to get a definite answer for you.
Okay. All right, so that was that question, and then the other one was the Operation Christmas with Judge Bo McLean. We have the Toys for Tots. Where are those boxes? Do you know?
Yes, ma'am. We have a box in City Hall. We have a box in Courthouse Square, and we have a box in the Welcome Center.
Okay.
For those collections. We've sent messaging out to all the city staff as well. We'll collect those toys up until the day of distribution.
Okay.
And then we'll collect them and get them over to Judge McLean.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I had a comment. Jason, you mentioned the decorating the homes.
Yes, sir.
Around the city. My wife has taken that on as a challenge. And I do mean my wife. I think I have hung one cross about 12 feet up off the ground. So I challenge all of you to get involved in that. I know that we're not capable of winning an award because we're city employees, so to speak, but I still challenge you all to have fun with it as she is every day.
As we have laid out the rules, city staff and elected officials aren't eligible for the judged awards, but we have left it open for the People's Choice Awards because that's solely based on social media response.
Well, thank you. That may help the cause a little bit if anyone wants to get involved. I'm looking at the coach. I know he's been on his roof the last few days, I'm sure.
I'm working on it. You have to have live trees, so it's working.
Here. This is long-range planning. I've actually had more than a few people ask me recently about the tour of homes that we used to have here every year, and obviously it would not have been possible this year because of COVID. But and I do know that several issues. One of the issues that came up in previous years was that it tended to be the same houses, and people kind of got burned out to doing it year after year. And I thought somebody made a good suggestion of maybe doing it every other year. That way, if you do have the same houses, there's some separation, and they can change the decorations over that period of time. But I thought that might be worth looking into, especially next year, because by that time, hopefully, we'll be coming out of COVID, and I think it'd be just a wonderful way of celebrating the season, for Christmas 2021.
It's one we kind of talked about when we were planning the Deck the Homes contest to see if there was some kind of variation on it we could pull back, because that was still going when I first started. And it was a very popular event, and it's possibly something we could incorporate. We did try to come up with ideas that next year, if we get back to a normal and where we can have a parade and the regular things that we do, these activities are things that we could work into that and still have all of them. So we'll just be building a bigger and bigger holiday season.
I think it'll be very well received if we bring it back.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Big deal about it too. So.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all, Mr. Chair.
All right. Anyone else? Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davis, and thank you, Mr. Post. Comments from citizens and delegates. Do we have anyone that want to come forward and have 5 minutes to address the council? I don't see anyone, just staff in the audience. Not just staff, stellar staff, but I don't see any citizens. So now I will open the floor to adjourn to executive session to discuss a potential property acquisition. I open the floor for a motion to do that, and we will take a 5-minute recess.
Motion.
Second. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. We are adjourned to executive session after a 5-minute recess.